Welcome to Starseed Gathering podcast. This podcast is hosted by Annabelle Ivaya, intuitive mentor and healer. This platform welcomes all of the light workers, healers, and coaches from all around the globe to share their story, their awakening, their path, and their mission here on earth today. You will meet a beautiful soul today that wants to share their light with you. Allow the story that you will hear and all of the information to land within you like a breeze of love. I welcome you into this sacred space. Enjoy this podcast.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this podcast, Starseed Gathering. I'm super excited to have a lovely soul with me today that's going to talk about her services and what she does and how she got into this work. I love to present guests that have, we're also unique in this area of spirituality. None of us have gone through the same exact way of our path to get where we are, and we don't offer the same services. So I really want to dive into what are the the specificities and how people are getting there. So it's going to be very lovely to be able to speak with you, lovely soul. Hi, Kristina.
Hello, Annabelle. How are you today?
I'm very well. It's exciting to have you.
Good, good.
It's exciting.
I'm
And
excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
oh, you're so welcome. It's always a pleasure to connect with people around the globe that do this work. As I'm saying, it's like we have a way of doing it that's so unique, and I think it really inspires others that, some of us have gone through a lot of trauma, and some other are like just, they're psychic since they're 3 years old. So really
Right.
would love to hear yeah, more about you. Present yourself, beautiful, and let us hear your beautiful story.
Okay, great. I'm happy to share. Um, wow, where do I even start? Let's see. I started with prophetic dreams as a toddler. So I remember the story being told. I don't remember it happening, but I remember the story being told where I woke up crying after a dream. And I had the dream several times between, I think 6 times, between the first time when I was a toddler and when I was about 11. And that was, I would walk into, there was a room in my grandparents' house that was like a home office. They had a home business. Um, but there wasn't a desk in there. It was a hospital bed. And there was a lady laying in the bed. And I would go in, and I just remember my grandmother had this, those expandable step stools, where they have like two steps on them. Well, my grandmother had one that was bright yellow. And in my dream, it was there. And I remember it being there. But I would climb up on this step stool, and the lady that was laying in the bed, I didn't know who she was, but I kissed her on the cheek or the forehead. It was different in different dreams, and pulled a sheet over her head. And then I would wake up crying. And I know it was really weird. And I, like I said, I was maybe 2 or 3 the first time that happened. And so the next morning my mom called her mother, but her mother was calling her at the same time. So my mom picked up the phone, neither phone rang, and they were just connected. It was one of those weird things that happen sometimes. And my grandmother told my mom that an uncle, I had no idea who he was, but an uncle in Sweden had passed away that night. So um, that happened. Like I said, I think about 6 times, and every single time it was a relative I didn't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did that ever kind of made you scared to go to sleep? Like were you were you like, I don't know if I'm gonna dream anything? I mean, probably you don't think so much
Um,
ahead at that time, but at that age, but
I
you
don't
know.
remember being afraid of that. It was weird because I don't remember being afraid of that. It was just like, oh, well, here comes another message. you know. I would also dream about a man that was sitting on my great aunt. My great aunt and my grandparents like lived right next to each other. And there was always like this man sitting on her porch. And every time I saw him in a dream, somebody got injured. My grandmother shattered her kneecap. She slipped on the ice. My great aunt did something with her shoulder. I don't remember what it was, but it needed surgery. So it was like my relatives that I didn't know were communicating with me from beyond.
Wow,
Yeah,
how
and then when I hit puberty, the dreams stopped and things started happening when I was awake. So I would see spirits. I would see energy moving and not understand what it was. I would hear people's thoughts. And man, you know, when you're in like seventh, eighth, ninth grade and you can hear people's thoughts, it's like, oh wow, that's a lot. Now, added on top of this, I grew up in a very addicted home. So there was a lot of alcohol abuse, there was violence, there was a lot of nasty stuff. And so I was dealing with that. I myself had already given into addiction. I was actually born addicted and intoxicated. So um, that there was that aspect too. So when I sobered up, got clean, what was I, 16, 17 when I got clean and stopped drinking. And then another level of it came up again because I mean, it's like I started drinking more heavily, started using more heavily because I was so tired of hearing all these voices coming from other people and I was trying to drown it out. Didn't work. It just distorted it. So
okay.
yeah, it just like I would instead of hearing, you know, like normal thoughts, I'd be hearing the darkest thoughts and that kind of thing when I was using and drinking. So um, I really had to come to terms with who I am, the gift that I have in order to stay clean and sober, because otherwise I would have run with it. I would have just run right back to addiction. So that's kind of like, you know, and then we all have levels, right? We all have levels. There's not one awakening. Nobody has one awakening. There, there are multiple awakenings. And um, a lot of mine have come with health issues. It's like, get back on track. Here's a health issue. Get back on track. Boom, here's a health issue. So, you know, it's like my body has been through a lot. I've had 2 bouts of cancer. I've had a stroke, um, 4 near-death experiences. I mean, it's like there's just been like one thing after another. And about every 10 years, I get reminded, get back on track. So, yeah, there's been a lot going on.
And wait, I want to hear what that means to you, right?
Right.
When you say, spirit or my soul or my higher self, whatever, there's something out there telling me
Yeah.
like you're not on the track. You need to go back. So what was happening in your life, in some of those instances when you were asked to go back to center?
A lot of times it was that I was getting involved in dysfunctional or abusive relationships, you know, or I just was trying to live like a normal person and not paying attention to what was coming through and just trying to shut it all out and just kind of, okay, well, I'm going to go over here and do this, learn this weird 3D job, which most people would think is normal, you know, like selling insurance. Right. So I went and got an insurance license. That knocked me so far off my spiritual track. It was unbelievable. It's like, nope, come on, get back on track. Here's a stroke. Boom, get back on track. You know, so it was like things that make me stop and pay attention.
Yeah, I can so relate to that.
Yeah.
I think we're so hypersensitive, and not most people are not like that. Let's just say,
Yeah.
like the people I speak every day now, yes, but most people outside of our bubble
Yeah.
are just, or maybe they are, but they also use a lot, or they do their own thing, right? They use something to distract themselves from the pain, from the sensitivity. And for me, it was that too. Like it was like like I must try to fit in this box. It looks like everybody's doing it. I don't feel like doing it, but like, what else am I going to do if I don't do that? Right. And it was just
Right.
like, and I love that you're sharing about this breaking point where the universe, you know, source, whatever we went, is saying, okay, enough. You need to stop what you're doing right now and start reflecting, because there's something more for you out there. And for us that are doing this, where there are people waiting for you to show up. So you better get on the road that is supposed to be
Exactly.
yours. People are
Exactly.
waiting for you. They're like, there's a lineup for you right there.
Hmm. Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how when I get off track, boom, here's another health issue to deal with. Focus on yourself, focus on what you need to do, focus on getting back to who you are. Level up. Here's your next level. Stop trying to avoid it. Here's your next level. Stop trying to avoid it. You know, so it does, right? So we make these decisions. We try to fit into this weird little box. And I was just thinking about this morning, actually, that I used to be intimidated by the people who knew how to live in the box because I never figured it out.
So relate. It's like, how are they doing that? But they're really good at this.
Yeah, like they got some sort of instruction manual or something that I didn't get. But now I
Oh
realize,
man, I love that so much. I feel it in my heart. It's like, how, yeah, like you're such like a outsider of this world. That you're like, I don't know why everything seems so easy for these people, but not for me. Right.
right, right. And then I realized we're not in that box, but the information we're getting, they don't even have access to. Like they just don't, it's just not there for them. And now that you know we've got this fifth dimensional thing going on in the 3D, 5D split, the box people are in 3D. It explains why I never understood the box and probably why you never understood the box.
Right. And it takes time to kind of stop feeling like there's something wrong with you because of
Yes.
that. A
Yeah.
long time, I think all of us are like, there's something wrong with me because I don't like those hangouts where people talk about what they buy. I don't like those, gatherings where people are so surface level. Or whatever, talking about shows or politics or, whatever,
Or
other
sports or
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, everything that people gather around and speak about. Right. And I was like,
yeah.
I don't know why. I just don't. Can I just go in my little cubicle and think about my own stuff? I'm going to do my work, but I was a social worker before I became what I am now.
Okay.
And I remember so many of those break times, I was like, I'm not even interested in even just passing by. I'm going to go and get my coffee later.
Right? Yeah, exactly. It's living connected like this, it is different. It and we stand out. And the standing out used to not feel very good, but now it does. Hope it's the same for you. I
Yeah,
hope,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely. I think this work, having this business that is about that and connecting to
right.
like-minded soul more. And so like of course like in different social setting, I might feel it's still, there's like, oh, I don't know, like I just moved to a new town now in a new, well, not a new country to me, but I moved to another country. And I'm like, well, okay, like I need to go through the 3D people to find my people somewhere, right? It's like navigating it. It's easier. Definitely easier since I do this work. Yeah, definitely. Because the rest of it I felt was very boxy, and it was like, yeah, but I could do this with them and I could do that with my clients, and my bosses, and the way that it was built was like, nope, you can't. Nope, you can't. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna
I
die in
know.
this job. What about my soul, right? Yeah,
Right. Yeah. One of these days I'm just going to sit down and make a list of all the jobs I had trying to fit into the box.
it'll be interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
say, because I think we try to find our place. We try to find this place that is ours.
Right. Right.
And
Exactly.
and we try to find it in something that's available to us, because it takes time before, like, okay, I'm courageous, I'm gonna shine my light, I'm becoming a healer, a psychic, whatever. I mean, this is outside the box pretty much a lot.
Mhm. Right, right. It's like way outside the box. But the thing is, our world is getting bigger and those boxes are getting smaller. You
Even
know?
people in these boxes now are like, I don't really feel fulfilled. There's something missing in there. Like, right? This, connection, that's what it's missing. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. There are a lot of more people moving towards the fifth dimension, raising their energy, and they're noticing it when the conversations don't interest them anymore. They're noticing it when the relationships that they have are no longer fulfilling. They're,
Yeah, it was okay for a
yeah,
bit, but now I don't know. I don't feel like being
yeah,
surrounded by these people or continuing something that actually isn't aligned. And it takes time too, even for us. I'm pretty sure for you
yes.
too. You were talking about that. I had a toxic relationship too. And it was
Hmm.
like, oh yeah, like I need, oh, that's what it is, self-love. Oh, okay. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's what you meant by codependency. Okay, now I got it. Yeah,
Right. These beautiful concepts that you kind of understand with his until it drops in your heart and you're like, okay, yeah, no, no more, no more.
no more.
Enough is enough. Is enough.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
with careers. Like you were talking about your career and how it didn't fit for you anymore.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's, you
Yeah. And
know,
I did the same like you, but I did different departments in the same box, right? It's different
mhm.
folders of the same cabinet.
Yes.
And I was like, I don't know why it's not working. Well, try this. I'll try this one. And people were like, she changes so many times of her like the position. And I was like, well, I'm done. I've seen everything I needed to see here. And I could never kind of learn enough or use my creativity enough or just expand into what I wanted. Like when I speak to people that wanted to start their own business, because I help them now doing that. And I'm like, this feeling that you had a box and a boss and that you couldn't do certain things, it's gone. You can do the way you want. You're connected to your heart, you're connected to your clients, you have those ideas flourishing and the channeled messages. I mean, healing. I mean, it's just, what's better than
Right?
that?
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much that I can't imagine, first of all, living any other way than I do. And I've got a crazy schedule. I'm sure your schedule gets crazy too. I have a heavy travel schedule. I'm on the road a lot. I love to drive. I love my alone time behind the windshield. Yeah, I rarely even turn on music because I'm just like there. I'm in it. It's my Zen time. And I love that. But ironically, I quit a previous career because I didn't want to work weekends. And now I work pretty much nights and weekends. So, you know, but I'm doing something that matters to me.
That's
And I
the
think that's the
biggest shift.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing compares to like the number of hours that we work. It doesn't even feel like work. So we're like, it's fine. It feels good to our heart, to our soul.
Right.
It doesn't feel like somebody is forcing us to do it. It's a very different perspective.
Oh, I completely agree. I completely agree. And I love the individual clients that I have too. I love doing individual sessions, whether it's channeling or hypnosis or doing a mediumship. Mediumship is my favorite form of healing. I love helping people heal through mediumship because there's so much, like when people's loved ones crossed over and they don't feel like they can connect to them anymore, and I can help them connect to them. That is the most amazing feeling for me. I love that. And so it's all of the different things that I do, but I also speak. I'm also an author. I also have, 3 different podcasts. So I do a lot of different things, partly because I get bored pretty easily and just doing one thing.
I think
It's just
it's
not
pretty much
enough.
I think it's a starseed thing. It feels like it. A lot of us are like, okay, what's the next project now? Like what is it? And there's no end to it. There's
Right.
always something more that can drop and it feels good. I know I'm about to launch something new, two different things, and I'm like super pumped about it. That's the
Right.
part. Yeah.
Yeah,
We need to
exactly.
diversify too, I
Mhm.
feel. Feel it's good
Right.
to diversify.
I agree. I agree. So I do all those different things, and I go to psychic fairs and I go to paracons and and I'm set up. Sometimes I'm a speaker. Sometimes I just have a booth and I'm working with individuals one after another all day long. And I love all of it. Like the only part I don't like, honestly, is the accounting and the stuff I'd
The
rather pay
3D
somebody
part.
else to do.
The 3D part of the job.
The 3D part of the job is what I don't like, but it's necessary. I get it. That allows me to continue doing what I do. But I love doing all of it. I love the individual. I love the group. I do gallery readings. I love all of it, and I can't imagine not having this in my life.
Mhm.
I just
How long
can't.
have you been doing it now for full time? How long have you been doing it?
Full time since 2008. So.
What a beautiful service to this planet.
Right. I did actually start my business under a different name, same business, but I started with teaching meditation and doing Reiki. Um, 25, it'll be 25 years on January 1st. So, yeah, I've been in business 25 years.
That's really cool. Love it,
Yeah.
love it, love
And
it.
through a lot of it, though, I was working other jobs to keep my business going and support my family. So, you do what you got to do, right?
Right, right. And it takes time, to find what we really want to do, and how much we can trust that we're gonna have, the clientele to sustain ourselves. I mean, it's a
Right.
process, right? It's not like a job that they give you all of the clients. You have to show your face, you have to go and do those podcasts, or go to those fairs so that people get to know you,
Right.
until at some point the trust and the magnetism is activated, right?
Right. Right. But I have to tell you, when I'm not doing the fairs, even though I've got the podcast, even though I'm talking to guests, even though I've got my individual clients, I miss it. I miss the interaction that you get at an event like that, So I book myself into a lot of them because I like the interaction. I like the people that I meet. I like to connect with people I haven't seen in a while because I'm connected to several different groups that all do events. So when I'm at different events, I'm meeting new people, but then I go to events I've been doing for years and it's like, oh, I've missed you guys. So
Right. Well, I'm sure with all of these years, you must know everyone everywhere, right? Because
I'm
it's a growing world, though.
it is a growing
Definitely.
world.
It
Yeah,
was
I'm
probably
always
a lot
meeting new people.
smaller when you started than now. A lot more expansion for sure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's
Mm.
meeting new people all the time, but also, like I said, just connecting with other people that I've already known for a long time. And it's just really nice, People, one of the things I really love about working in the spiritual and the metaphysical, I'm friends with what in other places they would call competitors, but we're not competing because it's all energetic. People go where they need to go. And I love that too. So other psychics are friends. Other healers are friends, you know? I love that.
Yeah, I think it's a very important point, and I think even me doing this is also that, right? It's like you're gonna have the client that speak to you, because I feel it's so important that we share the soul contracts you have with certain people. I don't, and vice versa. And there's
Mhm.
so many people on this planet. It's impossible. Well, we don't need to compete, because it's energetic, as you said. It's like soul contracts that we have with these people that said, okay, when I'm gonna awaken, I'm gonna knock to your door. You better open. And then this guy, okay, okay, we'll do it, and we're gonna be there for you. And sometimes,
Yeah,
somebody could go for a reading with you and go with someone else later. I mean, it's all part, like, if we just look at you and I, the process we had until we got here, we saw many people before we met, right? To
Right.
help ourselves, to develop our gifts, to be teachers, to be mentors, to be healers, you know? So I think it's all, there's so many people, so many beautiful energies, so many things you can try. Just try a bunch and see what fits with you.
Right. Right. Exactly. And it's so funny. I always find it humorous when I'm at a fair and let's say there's a dozen readers there, right? And eventually, I mean, people circle around, they look at everywhere, they feel it all out, which is exactly what they should be doing, right? Just going and feeling it all out. And eventually somebody will sit down at my table and get a reading and they're like, "Well, that's what that one and that one told me." Are you surprised? It's the same message. It doesn't matter who it comes through. It's the same message. So you're not going to get a different message by going to a different psychic unless they're not a legit and then they just give you what you want, you know? So,
Right,
but
yeah. There's different levels of consciousness even in this field. So
yes, there is. Yes, there is. You know, and there's different levels of integrity too, which is something that I think a lot of people don't understand.
yeah, and I think, but you know, I've come across a lot of that too in my own experience, whether as a client or whether as a colleague.
Right.
And then it just brings me more to this place. Well, that's another reason why you have to show up, Annabelle. That's another reason why you have to be very present and do your work and share what authentic service to humanity look like, so that people
Yes.
know what it feels like and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's what it is to actually connect to someone that's actually connecting and that's actually wanting the best for me, but in an empowerment energy, not in like, oh, you should be doing this and this and that, right?
Right.
You
Right.
have the power. Even if we channel messages, you're still in the driver's seat of your own life.
Right, exactly. And it's amazing how many people are just now catching on to being in the driver's seat of their own life. It's
Yeah, right. Even the trauma, even all of the things that you went through that you didn't like, most likely you were part of that.
yeah, it took me a while too. I mean, I didn't just wake up, you know, one day and go, "Oh, I'm in charge of my life. Oh, I'm in charge of my career." You know, I did a lot of that too, you know, bouncing around and allowing myself to be swayed one way or another. And you know, I think it's all just part of the growing process and it's all part of the expanding process to be able to recognize I was pretty easily misled in that area and I'm just not going to do that again, you know.
Yeah. And I think that's what creates spiritual leaders that are working from their hearts and their own experience. That's why we feel authentic to people, because it was not like, okay, you're a psychic and a healer, is your gift. It was like, no, you're gonna go through hell and back a few times, and you're gonna have to go deep into your trauma and deep in your shadows and take responsibility for your life and take
Yes.
responsibility for the choices you've made, for the things that you didn't like that happened, and now to choose something different and better for yourself.
Yes, yes. And you know, I think that people can tell the difference between those of us who have done that work, who've gone into our shadow work, if you want to call it that, or our dark spaces or whatever, and those of us who have done that and those have not done that. There's a huge difference in the energy. There's a huge difference in the energy. And
Yeah,
and
it
that's not
really
even a
is.
judgmental thing, you know? I mean, believe me, I know how scary it is to go into that dark space. I know. You know because you've done it. It's terrifying to go into that dark space and face yourself and go, look, you're creating all these problems in your life. You have to be responsible for fixing them. And you can really tell the difference when you're talking to people, whether it's in the psychic world, whether it's in the paranormal world, because I work in the paranormal world too, whether it's out out there in the world altogether, you know. You can tell who's done the work and who hasn't. And you can tell who's in the middle of it too, because I remember what it feels like to be in the middle of that. Now I know what it looks like to be in the middle of that because I know people who are in the middle of that. And it's a lot.
Oh yeah.
It's It's a lot.
It takes a lot of
Hmm.
energy, courage. It's courage. I think it's a lot of
Courage.
courage to look at those parts and
Yeah.
loving those parts. Even if the first thing you want to do is run away from them and not look at them, and they're like, oh no, 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 I don't like this part of myself. But
Yeah.
and I just not so long ago had like a big meltdown. There was so much energies in the planet and everything, and I had another one. Like those waves, they don't really stop until we move to another dimension, I don't think. I mean, we have more tools, and depending how your mission is and what you came here to do, sometimes you're gonna go through the ringer a little bit more than others, because it's like, well, you need to step up, as you said, right? You're on
Yeah.
that path, you look very comfortable right here, but you need to be on a different path. So we're gonna squeeze all of this, these things out of you that are actually preventing you from stepping onto that path. It's not going to feel comfortable at all. But on the other side, wow, the light. Wow, the clarity. Wow, oh my God, it feels so good to be on the right timeline finally.
Right. And then those timelines constantly shifting.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, where am I?
Constant.
Okay, no, another thing. Oh.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have a question for you because I'm
Yeah.
in a women's group and we talk about this a lot. Um,
Mhm.
do you have things just like disappear in your life? And I'm talking things like data, your car keys, maybe your cell phone, where you put it down on this particular table and it's not there. And then you come back later and it's there again. And
Yeah, it's the what's the I can forget. It's the something effect. What is the name for it? The Mandela effect? I
the
think that's what
Mandela,
they
I
call.
don't know. I think the
And
Mandela effect
Mandela?
is remembering things differently than they were.
Oh, I thought that the
Yeah.
Mandela effect also like was about. I think those are
Oh, it
3D
could.
glitches. I
It
think
could be
they're
both.
3D glitches. They're like, oh, you had that there. Oh, sorry, we were gonna put it back.
Sometimes I think it's because it's like, well, I set my cell phone here on this timeline, and then I shifted for a while, and then I came back. And so now it's there again.
Could be.
Yeah.
I think there's lots of glitches.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
There's a
and
lot of
I mean,
glitches.
we raise our frequency so high and so fast. It's like if the matrix can't keep up with us, right? It's like, all
Right.
right, where are we supposed to show her right now? I kind of missed that. I don't have the script anymore. I think they were like running in the background. I don't remember where she's at. What is the next step? Yeah, like the movie step.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Exactly. And I've had people texting me like just weird things that happen to them now, like time shifting, but not just timeline shifting, but time shifting. Like an example, one of my clients just sent me a text message that said, "Okay, I just need you to tell me if I'm crazy or not." Because I had asked my husband to do this thing outside in the yard, and I looked outside and it was done. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. But he wasn't home. So I waited till he got home to tell him. And then a few hours later, he got home, but he was outside doing that thing that I thought was already done. Am I crazy? What happened? I'm like, you jumped forward in time and then back again. And she's like, oh man, now I have that to deal with.
it can be very confusing. Let's
It
get real.
can.
Like
Yeah.
when we sometimes I feel like you probably feel that's like the time stretches. You're like, okay, like there's no time. Like, it's like blissful, no time. And then sometimes like the timeline is in front of you and you're running behind it and you can't even reach it. And it's like, what is going on with this? Like the time is changing so much, and it
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me that people would kind of look ahead, like actually it's like time travel time in a way,
Yeah.
right? You time travel to the future and then you come back, but you haven't really done it in a conscious way, so you're like all confused. It's confusing. It
Right.
is confusing.
It is confusing and it's getting more confusing. It's so weird. I mean, I know timelines shift a lot. Like I'll lose time. I'll be just like, how did I get home in this short of amount of time? Like, did I hit a wormhole? What happened? How did I get home that? in that short of amount of time. But you remember every step along the way. But time is different now. So it's
Yeah.
very confusing. And I know I'm not the only person that's going through this because I talk to people and I don't care if they think I'm crazy. So I am happy to talk to people and just explain things. And every once in a while, I will get somebody who's very much still in a box go, oh my God, that happened to me. And I'm like, look at that. The top of your box open. You can crawl out now.
That's so funny. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think we're that's what happened too, right? With those levels of awakening, I feel in us anchoring our gifts and feeling more confident in them. And now it's like, this is my truth. You don't have to agree with me, but I'm gonna share it and you do whatever you want with it. It's not to convince you. It's
right.
because that's the reality I live in and I'd like to share it with you. And I think we plant seeds as we do that because
I
at
think
some
we do
point
too.
people will be like, "Oh, that's what she meant." Like we did with some of our spiritual teacher. I know I've done that. Oh, that's what this meant. When you experience it and it kind of finally lands. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I love it when my former students get back to me and go, you're not going to believe what happened to me. And then they explain something that I have been through. And I'm like, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you. And it's not that I'm downplaying it at all, but I understand that excitement when it first happens. I love watching those lights go on.
Yeah, it's like the oh, I notice I'm shifting.
Yeah.
Finally, things are shifting, and I'm seeing those, repeating numbers and those, signs from the universe and those feathers
Hmm.
outside. And I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Would you like to do anything before we go into like the more like what's your services and, and everything? Would you
Oh,
like to share anything live with us right now? Is there anything that you would like to channel or you'd like to share with the public that's going to be watching this video?
yeah. I'm actually feeling someone who wants to come through and channel. So just give me a moment and I will get connected. For some reason, I can't channel with my glasses on. They feel heavy on my face, but this doesn't seem to affect it. So, I know dead air is not a good thing. I'm trying to rush the process. They're like, you can't rush it. Settle down.
We were kind of excited right there. So.
I know.
We're gonna take a few deep breaths, everyone together.
Everyone just take a few deep breaths. Yep. Hello, everyone. You know me as Jesus Christ. I wanted to come through today to let you know that as chaotic as your world looks, it's all going to be okay. It doesn't matter if you follow a religion that's named after me. It doesn't matter anything that you believe. I just want you to know it's going to be okay. Things are going to fall, and as it should be. But when you are rebuilding, remember to rebuild differently. Remember to rebuild in a way that makes sense for your souls, in a way that makes sense for more people, for the greater number of people. Remember the joy is what you need to be after, what you need to be living in. And love is a very high frequency. And also remember to be authentic. Be true to yourselves. Honor each other, but be true to yourselves. Be at peace, my brothers and sisters. Be at peace with yourselves first, and be at peace with those who think differently than you, who look differently than you. You know what my actual teachings are. Follow those, follow the Buddha, follow his teachings. Follow your own hearts, follow your own souls. That's where your power is. Be true to yourself while honoring others. And know that I still love the whole world. Everyone, no exceptions. It doesn't matter. You're all going to be okay. Remember to let the light in, to be the light for others. Remember to understand that just because someone might look different from you doesn't mean that they're wrong. And the people who are saying hateful, awful things, understand that they are living in fear. They are living in deficit of connection with their soul. Send love to them. Send them peace. Send them clarity. When you think about these people and you get angry, you are just reinforcing what they already have. Instead of anger, wrap them in love. It will prevail. Peace be with you all. Thank you. I have a hard time letting go of that one because it feels so good.
Yeah, I was wondering. I do channeling, but I don't really allow the energies for me like to take over. Like I did trans channeling just a couple, beginner class, I would say, long time ago when I started. Actually, that was kind of hard to start with that, but anyway,
Yeah,
that's how it
I can
happened.
imagine because I didn't start with that. I would have been freaked out.
I was like, well, I was, and my teachers, a few of them, they were like, their whole face would change and they would all demeanor. And I was like, oh my God, their voice. And I was like, oh my God, this is all scary. And I was like, yeah. So for me, I'm clairaudient, I have all of the clairs, but I rather like channel the words that I'm receiving. But it's
Right.
beautiful. It's beautiful. It was
Thank you.
such an honor to be able to receive a lovely message. How you feel when you channel this way? Tell me.
I usually feel pretty good. I mean, I feel great right now. That I'm just part of it is still in me, like part of that feeling is still in me. And I feel warm. I feel peaceful. Yeah.
Okay.
That is such
Okay.
a wonderful, peaceful energy that comes through.
Right. Do you channel mostly the same beings or do you channel different ones, whoever comes through? How does it work for you?
I channel several different beings, but I'm very careful about it. I mean, they have to have a certain frequency before they're allowed to use my body.
Right. Please. Yeah, you
Yeah,
have to vet them. Right?
absolutely. And my spirit guides vet for me too. So I make sure that, if something feels off, they're not allowed in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because at the same time, it's important to you as the vessel. It's important, and it's important for the receiver, right? So,
Hmm.
yeah, I hear that.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
absolutely.
Tell us about other things that you do. Now we're going to the kind of the end of our episode together. What are the services that you offer? You spoke about them, so just briefly, what people
Right.
can find and where they can find you and those type of things.
Okay. My name is Kristina Blooms, and that's my website as well, KristinaBloom.com. For those of you who are listening and not seeing, Kristina is spelled with a K, Bloom is spelled with two O's. It's just KristinaBloom.com. You can make an appointment to see me. You can request an appointment from my website. If you're on Facebook, you can send me a message at Kristina L Bloom. Kristina Bloom I've got two of them. So I have a business page and a private page, but it's both Kristina L Bloom. So yours, Spiritual Advisor is the business page. So you can send me a message there. Or I'm on Instagram. I'm on Blue Sky. So you can find me there. So there's a lot of different ways that you can reach me to make an appointment. I also do in-home parties, which is fun, or corporate parties where I do gallery readings or channelings and then offer private readings after the gallery. Those are always fun to do, the in-home ones. For like bridal showers or holiday parties or whatever, just having to get together. Those are fun to do. I like to do those. And I'm still getting my schedule together for next year because I've got a lot on my schedule for next year for 2025. And so I'm still getting the whole document put together to kind of put out into the universe. But yeah, that's getting done. I've been working on that for 2 days while I've been here, which is kind of nice. So that'll be getting together too. But that's how you can reach me to make an appointment or to find out what I'm doing. I have the group page on Facebook, my private page, and my business page. So those are all available.
If we look into, let's say, March 2025, what would be the sectors or the states that you'll be doing things in person, maybe fairs? I don't know. Do you already have things?
Yeah, I already have some of those. I've got the Kindred Spirit Fair again in March, March 8th. And the Northwoods Expo is in Rhinelander, Wisconsin at the Pines Event Center. And that is on March 22nd. And on March 29th, I am at the Penn, Ohio Bigfoot and Paracon. And that's at the Tiffany Banquet Hall in
Oh,
Brookfield, Ohio.
so if anyone is in this area, those areas, please
Yes.
don't be shy. Go and check her out in person. I'm sure that would be such an amazing time to be able to connect with you physically. What would you like the people to leave this recording with, this podcast with? Like, what's the most important message you would like to share with them to end this podcast?
The most important message that I would like to share from this podcast is that it doesn't matter how difficult your life has been. It doesn't matter where you come from. You don't have to stay there. You can get better. You can go. You can move forward. And you can get to where you want to be. All of those hard lessons are just lessons. And it's all okay.
Definitely. They're all signs from the universe. This is your path, but the one that you're on, there's another one better for you, so much greater, so much more bright. And it's getting bright in my room too.
Just take a turn left and go.
And trust your intuition. Beautiful.
Yes.
So please.
Yes,
And you
trust
can
your
learn that.
intuition.
You can learn that. We can teach you, but you can teach yourself by allowing those messages you're receiving and acting upon them and seeing, I get this message. I'm gonna do this little step and see how it goes. And you'll see that things will unfold beautifully for you. Thank you so much, beautiful soul, for being here, for sharing your heart with the planet, for all of the beautiful events that you do everywhere. It was such a pleasure to discuss with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And I will see you all in another podcast. And thank you so much.
I'm going to have you on the Paramystic Kristina podcast. Right. Yeah.
We're changing podcasts.
Yes.
So that's going to be nice. I'm excited. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. And we will have all of the contact information for her beautiful soul today down below. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.